Joining us now, Chris Farrell, the Director of Research and Investigations for Judicial Watch. Chris, we thank you for this time as you Skype in this Monday morning.
Great to be on with you. Thank you very much.
So, Chris, you heard that explanation from Lerner's attorney. What do you make of it?
Well, Lois Lerner has been a political operative working for the Democratic Party inside the federal government for decades now. There's documentation of her being involved in a Senate campaign going all the way back to 1996. So this is nothing new. This is a pattern of practice of her sort of maneuvering within the system for political purposes. But when it comes to the here and now of this crisis, this abuse of power at the IRS, it goes much higher than her. She's not operating on her own, dreaming this stuff up. This is part of an orchestrated campaign by the Obama political machine and by the DNC. She just happens to be the agent, the actor in the right place at the right time.
And mindful of that, how far do you think this goes up within the administration, all the way to the Oval Office?
If not into the Oval Office, then certainly at the level, at sort of the ring of power where people like Valerie Jarrett, inhabit those lofty heights.
So I just want to make sure, for amplification, it is your considered opinion, based on what we're seeing, that this at least enters into the president's circle of advisors, all the way to someone like Valerie Jarrett.
Yeah, I've been here at Judicial Watch for 15 years, and I've been a professional investigator as a federal law enforcement officer for nearly 30 years, total history, professional career. So I haven't just fallen off the turnip truck on this one. And in my experience, in my opinion, this is at the level of the president's inner ring of advisors and handlers and people of that caliber, of that rank. So this did not happen by accident. This is a concerted political campaign and effort to undermine the outcome of an election and to target political opponents. It's very serious stuff. This is not a joke. It's not, they want to portray it as, a couple of wacky people got off the reservation. Yeah. This is much more serious.
Initially, Chris, they were saying, well, it was a couple of bad actors in Cincinnati who were behind this, and subsequently we've seen all this transpire very curiously with the emails. And I want to draw on your law enforcement and investigative experience to this extent. We are hearing from our old pal, my old congressional colleague, Louis Gohmert, along with Bill Flores. They have proposed a bill that would offer over $1 million for the missing emails and another $500,000 for anyone with any information that can be used to prosecute those destroying the emails. Do you think this is something that should be taken seriously? Do you think there's a chance they could entice bureaucrats, hackers, people to get involved with this?
Frankly, I'm leery of it. I understand why they're doing what they're doing, and I think it's a way to focus attention. And so from that perspective, I understand it. But frankly, there's enough laws, and really, more importantly, we've got a hearing on July 10th, basically 10 days from now. We're going into U.S. District Court in front of Judge Emmett Sullivan. We're already getting accountability. The only people who have ever gotten any emails on the IRS, frankly, is Judicial Watch. If we hadn't turned up the information we had, Congress would still be twiddling their thumbs. So we're advancing the ball legally in court. We have a hearing on July 10th in front of Judge Emmett Sullivan, where we've shown the judge that the IRS and the Department of Justice have made false and misleading statements to him. They have materially deceived the court with respect to these emails. And I have far greater confidence in us advancing the ball than in offering bounties. Look, and the bill's never going to get through the Senate. So I get where they're coming from for publicity purposes, but I don't think it's actually going to produce anything.
Chris, we'd ask you to stand by. We look forward to that hearing July 10th, but there is news coming out of Washington and the Supreme Court that John Bogman has for us right now.
Yeah, JD, a big win for the Hobby Lobby. The Supreme Court ruling that saying now employees with religious objections to the Obamacare contraception mandate can object and not pay for that portion of the case here. Again, just coming in, the Supreme Court saying that some employers with religious objections can refuse to pay for contraception coverage as part of Obamacare. Now the question is, JD, what other companies, what other corporations are going to jump in here? And I guess this answers the question that corporations like the Hobby Lobby have the same religious protection underneath the Constitution that individuals like you and I have.
Chris Farrell, we know that your concentration has obviously been on wrongdoing, but you're someone who's not exactly a casual observer of the Supreme Court. Getting the ruling we've just gotten on Hobby Lobby, do you have an initial take you'd like to share with us?
Well, I was going to say thank goodness. Given that the Chief Justice got it so terribly wrong 2 years ago and upheld Obamacare when it really should have been struck down then, it's reassuring that people can still exercise their conscience, can still exercise their First Amendment rights, and say, look, the government cannot be compelled, or the government cannot compel you to purchase and support certain things that there's a religious prohibition on, and your faith, your belief, your conscience does not allow you to participate in. And the notion that the government can ram that down your throat and break person's individual religious rights and liberties is so offensive. I don't see how the court could rule any other way, frankly.
There was another decision earlier today, and again, if you're just joining us, we have the ruling now 5-4 in favor of Hobby Lobby in this important case dealing with contraception and health insurance, but also today the announcement that employees cannot be compelled to continue to donate to unions to whom they don't belong. We're seeing a story now from the web dealing with the birth control story, but Chris Farrell, your take on the decision dealing with unionization and affiliation and the compulsory payment of dues for a union to which public employees may not belong.
Right, another good decision, frankly. I mean, the notion that, again, not only are you going to compel people to participate in things that are religiously offensive to them, but the idea that you're going to compel participation in a union and then force people to pay money for something that they don't wish to join and don't wish to be a part of, again, they made the right decision here. Individual liberty, freedom of association, freedom of speech, and the ability to participate in the marketplace the way someone wants to. The unions will scream. The unions will go out of their minds over this one, but you can't jam people into positions they don't wish to participate in and take their money.
Well, guys, if you look at this in perspective, what happened last week, it's been a devastating couple of days for the administration. Now, you look back, the Supreme Court slapping down the president on those recess appointments, also with the union dues coming out today. They can't force those, and now with the Hobby Lobby case, all three of those rulings going completely opposite direction from which the administration had hoped. Chris, you would agree with that, I would assume?
Yeah, I mean, it's overreach, and the administration is being set back on their heels, frankly, as they should be. Because they've been essentially unopposed, just running wild. And that's in large part because of a congressional failure. Frankly, there's no leadership in the House, but everything kind of runs its cycle, and the overreach and the aggressive stance of the administration gets rolled back incrementally.
Chris, you just mentioned this, the lack of leadership in the House. We saw this weekend President Obama, and this deals with the case that John made mention of from last week, a unanimous decision, an institutional, constitutional decision saying the president of the White House had gone too far with recess appointments. And the president this weekend essentially laughed it off. Do you expect him to continue to basically do what he wants to do despite these rulings from the Supreme Court? Less than a minute.
The track record, the rule of thumb, not just with the Obama administration, but with leftists generally, capital L leftists, is whenever they lose or whenever they face a problem, they double down, So I expect an even more aggressive response. I know people may have a hard time even imagining that, but I don't anticipate them backing off or or licking their wounds in any way. I expect them to get even more aggressive in their approach.
Well, we will see, Chris Farrell. That's the reason we love to have you on to give us your perspective from Judicial Watch. Thanks again for checking in with us today on what proved to be a very active day from the Supreme Court.
Certainly was.
And we want to hear from you. Why don't you tweet us your thoughts at Newsmax TV, #AmericasForum.